Maradona turns like a little eel and comes away from trouble.
He was very passionate, very brave.
Little squat man comes inside Butcher, leaves him for dead. Outside Felix.
Genius.
Leaves him for dead and puts the ball away.
Technically, I think he was the most perfect player in the history of football.
And that is why Maradona's the greatest player in the world.
The impressive thing about Maradona was his ability with the ball. He was very skillful and had great vision.
I've never seen any other player do the things that Maradona could do.
Maradona defines Argentina, just like Gardel, Evita, Che Guevara. He's a legend.
Diego Maradona, the player of the 20th century, according to an internet poll run by FIFA in 2000. And who could argue with the majority choice? Diego Maradona brought brilliance to every team he played in. At Argentinos Juniors, he was sensational at the age of 15. He won the league title with Boca Juniors. He was undoubtedly Argentina's greatest ever player. He won 3 cups with Barcelona before moving to Italy, where he transformed Napoli into a title-winning side. There he won 2 Scudettos, a Coppa Italia and a UEFA Cup. That's quite a record. So was Diego Maradona the best footballer the world has ever seen?
Well, my mum always said that I was the best. I just want to be remembered as a good guy. So if some people think I'm the best, or the second best, the third, the 10th, that doesn't really matter too much.
But ask the question to any Argentinian, and they will surely say that Diego Maradona is the greatest player that ever lived. But like many of Argentina's heroes, Diego's story started in obscurity.
One day, a boy called Goyo Carrizo came up to me and said there was a kid where he lived in Villa Fiorito who was even better than him. And so one afternoon, he appeared with Diego. He was only a little kid, but he made such an impression at training, playing like one of the kids far bigger than him. He was from another planet. He was different.
Back then, in the late 1960s, the Maradona family was living in one of the poorest quarters of Buenos Aires, Villa Fiorito.
Life was very hard. There were 8 mouths to feed, and the only one working was my dad. My sisters were studying because Dad didn't want them to work, and he had to feed us. We always made ends meet by the end of the month, but things were very tight.
Life was tough in Villa Fiorito, but the family still managed to encourage the talent that their son had. Diego was taken at the age of 8 to see Francisco Cornejo, one of the coaches of the youth scheme at Argentinos Juniors, who couldn't believe that this was a mere 8-year-old that he was watching.
Diego changed when he stepped onto a football pitch. He felt the game so much.
I went for a trial at Argentinos Juniors, where we trained in the Parque Sabrera. And in the first session, I did pretty well. Scored a couple of goals. Enjoyed myself.
But Diego wasn't allowed to be a child for long.
With me, from 8 to 15 years old, he was a fantastic kid. But he moved on. His life and achievements reached another level. He became famous, and my part in his story was done.
Diego was clearly destined to become an Argentinos Juniors legend. When he made his debut, he was yet to turn 16, the youngest ever in the Argentine league. It was the stuff that dreams were made of for the young Diego Maradona.
I made my debut at 15, and that's when the dream started. I would dream about playing for the big teams, buying a house for my mum, buying cars, and being able to play for Boca, play for the national team. It was all a dream that myself and my friends had back then, but thought it was impossible. So in that moment, when I made my debut for the first team, then all of that became a little bit closer.
For Argentinos juniors, Maradona scored 116 goals in 166 appearances, a phenomenal record.
What happened was that there was no one else to score them, so I had to score. Otherwise, no one else would.
El Diego was the kid that everyone wanted to see around Buenos Aires, and by the age of 16 he'd made his international debut. Soon though he would make the journey across Buenos Aires to Boca Juniors. Maradona had found his spiritual home, and his fans had found their ultimate hero.
It's just a feeling that you can't explain.
Maradona, the £1 million teenager, made an impact that Boca Juniors would never forget.
I put the Boca shirt on Friday. I had an injury, but I still played. And we won the championship of 1981, which was fantastic because we filled every stadium we played in. Anyway, Boca's everything.
Although Maradona's stay at Boca lasted a mere 40 matches, in which he scored 28 goals, the fact that he went on to become the greatest Argentinian footballer ever is particularly celebrated at Boca, where El Diego is a symbol of the club. But the meteoric rise didn't stop in Buenos Aires. Much as he loved Boca, Diego had to move on.
It wasn't a case of leaving Boca. The country was falling apart and there just wasn't the money available to keep me there. So along came Barcelona with the money and they took me away.
Before he could join Barcelona, there was the small matter of the 1982 World Cup in Spain. And Maradona provided Argentina's brightest hope of retaining their world title. When he scored 2 goals against Hungary, things were looking good. Then came Brazil in the second group phase, but that World Cup ended in frustration for Argentina, and especially for Diego, who was sent off. But as Maradona walked, the world knew that it wouldn't be long before he was the star of the Spanish football fields once again. Barcelona had already paid $5 million for the 21-year-old, making Maradona the most expensive football player ever.
He went to Barcelona at the age of 21, where he found a world that was totally new to him, which also led him to make mistakes, and he knows that. But I remember the Maradona that played for Barcelona, and he did some extraordinary things there. Some of the things he did in a Barcelona shirt were just fantastic.
At Barcelona too came the first signs of the problems that would dog Maradona's life and his footballing career.
I never managed to play a whole season for Barcelona. Every time it looked like we were up for a title challenge, then something happened to me. First it was hepatitis, and then the ankle injury from Goycochea's tackle, which they said would end my career.
It was one of many injuries that Maradona was to overcome during his career, but his relationship with the club was problematic too, and the time came for him to move on once again.
It was all about the president. I never got on well with Núñez. He was authoritarian, interfered in team matters. I think the president should be the president, and that's why I went to Napoli.
Diego said goodbye to Barcelona and moved on to Naples, and in southern Italy he found his second home.
When I got to Napoli, it was a much smaller city, but they lived for football like I did. And at my presentation at Napoli, there were 75,000 people.
For Napoli, Maradona was like San Gennaro. He was unique. He had a fantastic relationship with the city.
But before the great successes at Napoli came the 1986 World Cup in Mexico, which would change his life forever.
In '86, our strength came from the fact that nobody believed in us. Everybody expected that Platini would prove to be the best in the world, that Zico would be the best, or someone else. I was in 7th or 8th place.
But as the story of Mexico 1986 developed, it became clear that there would be only one star, Diego Maradona.
He put everything into his preparations for that World Cup. We thought we had a very big player in our squad, but we never imagined that his power and influence would take us as far as it did.
With Maradona pulling all the strings, Argentina had few problems in the group phase. It was an improving team, coming together around their number 10, Maradona, their one great player.
And when we started winning the opening matches, and we came together as a group, we said to ourselves, look, we can do this. And we gained strength, and we could channel our energies.
Then in the quarter-final in Mexico City came the most explosive match of the 1986 World Cup. Argentina met England in the Azteca Stadium. 4 years earlier, the two countries had been at war.
It wasn't revenge for the boys who fell in that war, because nothing could bring back one of those lives, even if we'd scored 7 against England.
I think that the players were motivated by the chance to prove themselves face to face and with the same weapons, superior to England on a football pitch.
But the guys facing us were not to blame in any way. The English players had not killed a single Argentinian. We knew that very well. But they were representing the country that had killed Argentinians.
And the controversy didn't stop with the national anthems.
I stole the first goal like a thief. Like I'd stolen their wallets.
It was perhaps the most controversial goal of all time. This is how it went for the man who scored it.
Sansom anticipated it. But I kept running because the ball just looped up. And me, at just 1 meter 67, I was never going to beat Shilton in the air. So I put my fist up and I put my head just behind, and Shilton came out with 2 hands. So Shilton shouted, handball, handball. But when I saw the linesman run into the centre circle, I shouted, well, come on, celebrate. Put your arms around me, it's a goal. Because if we doubted it, then the linesman and the referee would too, and they'd have disallowed it. So afterwards, all the English came up to me, wanting me to admit that it was handball, but what was I supposed to say? Listen, I'd scored a goal with my hand before in a game amongst friends, but now I'd done it in the World Cup and nobody had seen me. So I wasn't going to say, sorry guys, I scored it with my hand. No, what could I say?
Handball? Or as Maradona put it, the hand of God. No doubt though about the second goal.
When he got the ball, I just said, the genius of world football picks up the ball in midfield.
Ahí lo tiene Maradona, lo marcan dos, pisa la pelota Maradona, arranca por la derecha el genio del fútbol mundial, y es el tentativo a tocar para Borruchaga siempre Maradona, genio, 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 ta, 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 ta.
I was lucky enough to have the momentum and to see that the English weren't going to stop me. No one was going to stop me, not even Tyson. And just as I was going to shoot, I saw Shilton covering the whole goal like this. So I gave it a little touch, feinted, he went to ground, and I stuck it in.
That moment had a great symbolic value for us. And Maradona was transformed into this great patriotic leader, comparable to the national heroes of our independence.
Argentina went on to a semi-final against Belgium, and there was more brilliance from Maradona. With 2 goals, he put Argentina into the World Cup final once again. And there was no doubt who West Germany would fear most in the final.
Maradona had such power that he could influence a match just by his presence, which would destabilize our opponents. He had this power that intimidated the opposition.
So another moment of truth in the career of Diego Maradona. The score stood at 2-2 when Maradona put Gheorghe Hagi through for the winning goal. Argentina were world champions once again. But this time it was Maradona who'd led and inspired them. The crowning moment of a brilliant career.
It's a unique feeling. As a footballer, you can have a lot of cups in your hands, but to have the World Cup is something that every player dreams of. It's a beautiful thing, a unique thing. It's beautiful.
1986, the year when the World Cup was decided more than any other by the presence of one man, Diego Maradona.
In 1986 was his finest hour, where he showed everything he had.
Without Diego, we would not have won that World Cup. Without him, it couldn't have been the creative team that it was.
Technically, he was the most perfect player in the history of football.
Back at Napoli, though, there were trophies to be won and challenges to face up to.
So I asked Fellaino, the president, for players who could help us beat the northern teams. So I chose the players and made us stronger. And at that point, I started to raise the flag for the south of Italy. Juventus came down and we won 1-0 and sent the old lady away. Milan came down with Sacchi and we won 3-1. And when we won our first Scudetto, they said, "What's going on?" We won the UEFA Cup, a Coppa Italia. We won a lot of things at Napoli.
It was a situation that suited Maradona perfectly. He was the hero of Napoli.
For the fans and Maradona, it wasn't just a game of football. It was a way of correcting an injustice from the rest of Italy. And so they felt a lot for him, and they were very proud of their team back then.
That love for Maradona would be tested when the World Cup came to Italy in 1990. Victories against Brazil and Yugoslavia put Argentina through to a semi-final against Italy, which was played in Naples. Maradona wanted the Neapolitans to expose the North-South divide and support Maradona's Argentina ahead of Italy.
When we came up against the Italians, as captain of Argentina, I said that the Italians would ask for the support of the people of Napoli for one day, and for the other 364 days, they'll call us Africans. And they went mad. They just went loco.
For the Neapolitans, Maradona wasn't an Argentinian. He was one of them, so that caused a few problems.
Who knows whether the mind games unbalanced the Italians? But as controversy raged, Maradona was calm enough to score a crucial penalty in the shootout that put Argentina into the final. In the Olympic Stadium in Rome, Maradona led his Argentinian side into a second consecutive World Cup final. His mixture of passion and skill was one of the few high points of a disappointing final. But in the end, Franz Beckenbauer's Germany were too strong for Argentina. A penalty from Andreas Bremer 5 minutes from time was enough to take the World Cup away from Argentina. And one of the abiding memories of that World Cup were the tears of Maradona. But far worse was to come. Maradona's lifestyle had become increasingly chaotic. In 1991, he tested positive for cocaine and received a worldwide 15-month ban. The pressure had finally caught up with the superstar.
It's very difficult to be Maradona. The pressure he lives under. No one in the history of football has had to go through that.
Maradona's life is made up of deaths and resurrections. He's fallen down and then he's got back on his feet, in a symbolic sense, but also in real life.
So Maradona, the man who'd once ruled the world of football, was now an outsider to the game he loved. He managed to come back with Sevilla in 1992. Then Argentina needed their talisman for the World Cup in 1994, which was held in the United States. And once again, Diego answered his country's call.
I lost nearly 16 kilos. I cut myself off from my family, running 16 kilometers per hour on the treadmill.
So for the third time, Maradona led his country into the final stages of a World Cup. It all started well against Greece. But was everything really so well with Maradona? The celebrations didn't last long. Before the group stage was out, he tested positive for ephedrine, a banned substance, and Maradona was sent home.
They treated me very brutally, but, well, that was it. I had to pay. So I took the responsibility, and all those sacrifices came to nothing. But I think that if that hadn't happened in the 1994 World Cup, then we would have been world champions.
Maradona did return to Boca for a short spell, where he was given a hero's welcome, but his playing days were coming to an end. The scandals may have cast a shadow over his career, but Diego was still the idol of Argentina. Without football, though, Maradona couldn't cope with the pressure of his fame. His sporadic addictions to drugs and alcohol took their toll, and the hero of Argentina nearly died in a Buenos Aires hospital in 2001.
I'd reached rock bottom. I nearly died. I was at the lowest point a man could fall to. Dalma and Janina saved me. Dalma, because she told me when I was in a terminal coma that Janina had said that I had to live for her. And when I heard that, it really hit home.
A fully recovered Maradona went on to become the national coach of Argentina.
I reinvented myself as a man. I came off drugs, and now I'm the national team manager. You can't ask for more than that in life. And I think that God has given me another chance, which I've got to take.
The life of Diego Maradona. As a child, he was plucked from obscurity. He went on to become arguably the best ever. An extraordinary life that was made possible by an even more extraordinary talent.
It's been fantastic. I think that I've been through wonderful and terrible things, and now that I have my grandson, I'm the happiest man in the world.